Logan. We were speaking, and I had to take this very important call, but we are back to the discussion and back for good. Like I said to you, you were a little over close to 7 months in service, but I'm sure it's your first appearance on the program.
Sure, of course.
Okay, so how has it been? Can you make use of your mic, please?
Well, not bad. I'm doing fine, and I want to use this opportunity to extend my thanks and appreciation to all healthcare workers across the country, and also to our development partners that are helping us to fight coronavirus, most especially to the President of the Republic of Liberia for being very concerned about the plight of the healthcare workers in this country.
Okay.
So we are doing fine, but currently we are fighting coronavirus, and just about that same time we have a situation with health worker strike, which we are trying to manage as much as possible.
I know. So just before we go into that and go into other issues, before you came, what was your impression about the Ministry of Health? And after you shall have joined the family, what have you found out so far?
Well, the Ministry of Health is a great place to be. Leaving the county level and coming to the central level, the experiences are not the same. At the county level, you are in charge of everything. And then what you do a lot is you implement. But then at the central level is where you make bigger plan, policy for what's supposed to be role or at the county level. So for me, it's a great experience.
So do you see things falling in place as perceived?
Yeah, of course. In any institution, there are challenges, but currently the health system as a whole is heavily challenged due to limited resources. But in the midst of that, we still have to work and serve our country, and that's what we're doing.
So as an assistant minister for Curative service, what are some of your roles and responsibility in the sector?
Well, thank you so much. I'm directly responsible for all clinical services in the country. And by that, all of the doctors in the country, I'm directly responsible for them. All the clinicians, nurses, midwife, physician assistant, you name it, lab technician, all down the line, I'm directly responsible for these people.
So meaning you are responsible for
all
our nurses
hospitals,
also?
all clinics, all health center, I'm directly responsible, for everything that's happening in these places. And that's why you see I have to come up at least to talk on issues, on some of the burning issues that are coming up and how we can resolve it.
Okay, so like you said, you have an oversight or over responsibility for our nurses, our doctors, health workers as a whole. Now we in the midst of corona, there is some dissatisfaction that is rankling somewhere between the lines. So do you care to talk about that, like the issues with our health workers and that of the government?
Well, thank you so much. Last weekend, we had a second negotiation following this health care worker strike situation. There was a first negotiation that broke down, and then this gone weekend, we had a second negotiation that also broke down. But then we've been talking to the healthcare workers, appealing to them to go back to work, call off the strike. So to not bore you with a lot of information, yesterday the Liberia Medical and Dental Council were able to call a meeting with them at their headquarters in GFK in an effort to quiet the tension down. And the same Liberia Medical and Dental Council have also negotiated with the Healthcare Worker Association for what appears to be a final meeting tomorrow at the Ministry of Health. So we are hoping that the meeting at the Ministry of Health tomorrow by 1 p.m., which will comprise basically key people within our own health system, we are hoping that by tomorrow, that meeting should be able, conversation in that meeting should be able to come up with an understanding that will call off the strike and get the healthcare worker going back to work.
So, do you see some level of understanding between our health workers and that of the government of Liberia or the Ministry of Health, who's representing the government in this case?
Well, to be frank with you, in the last 2 meetings, there have been serious challenges. We've been finding it difficult to convince them, but for me, I think we should still give them another opportunity, which is tomorrow, so that we can be able to calm down the situation. One of they listed several counts.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
And maybe later on we could look at those counts one by one, and make some meaning out of it, even as the public is listening, because across the country, this strike action is affecting, our people, and that's why we keep calling on the healthcare workers to call off the strike, get back to work. As a government, in the situation with this strike going on, we still have to keep the system running.
Sure.
And currently, what we're doing is to make sure that the leadership of every hospital, every health facility are there, providing those emergency services, just to keep the system running until we can resolve this situation with them.
Okay, so and that I understand there were 8 counts from our health workers. Can we go through that, bit by bit? So we take the first one.
Okay, number 1, we have hazard payment to health workers. Meaning,
what is that?
Meaning as one of the counts, they're requesting hazard payment. And hazard payment, basically, in the response, there are people who are directly responding. Every month they get some kind of raised benefit.
Okay.
But then there are other guys that are in the hospital, that providing services, cases living from the community also going to them. So in a way, they too are, they are also at risk. And considering health workers' infection are also high, the government saw it prudent that, hey, since you are requesting for hazard payment, our president made available $2 million upfront. And that is commendable. I think that is a low-hanging fruit that we can grab with our 2 hands. And that's why we are appealing to the healthcare worker. Currently, resources are constrained everywhere around the world. Even people that we used to appeal to for money, they themselves having challenges. So can we take this $2 million and make sure that everyone get their share of this hazard payment, at least as a way of moving forward?
So can the $2 million settle the scope?
Yeah, but this $2 million is for those group of people who are at facility level that were not receiving raised benefits.
Okay.
So for me, that tells you that the government is very sensitive to the situation, because this was a situation that just popped up. In less than a few days, the president immediately made $2 million available. So, and that's a low-hanging fruit. It's better to grab that one and let's see how we move forward first.
Oh, okay. So let's go to count number 2.
So for count number 2, they are requesting the Ministry of Health to suspend staff redeployment and transfer policy. Now, it is in the purview of the Ministry of Health to assign, to appoint people to come up with this policy document. So it's not something that, MOH will have to seek go ahead from them. However, this document, this is just an idea that came up in the Ministry of Health. It's still in its formative stage. There have been no draft document carved in stone. Usually, if we make this policy document, we call the regulatory body, which are the various board from which all of the associations are part, to form a part of it. But this particular document has not even been drafted. So how come are they telling us to suspend it? This is an idea that came up and still in its formative stage.
So you're
saying has gone nowhere.
It's like a Roman there.
Exactly. So I strongly believe that perhaps they were misinformed on this count. And why should we suspend something that really doesn't have not come to fruition? So this second count, I think we should just get it up because it's a conversation that is an ongoing conversation. Nothing has been carved into stone and approved by the ministry. Usually before we approve any policy document, we call in all the various board to validate that document. And we have not even dressed anywhere near this.
Okay.
So this is count number 2. Count number 3, they are requesting the government to provide benefit for COVID victims and their families. Now, during the carving of the COVID budget, there were some provision made for specifically healthcare workers who are providing direct response. Should in case any of them die, such person will have to send a notification to the Ministry of Health, and there are some requirements which I will list to you later. As a result of that healthcare worker that was directly responding there, once that person and the family goes through all of the requirements, which I will tell you later, that person will be given 5,000 United States dollars. That was the initial plan. Later on, the Minister of Health, our boss, Dr. Wilhelmina Jala, she saw it also prudent to plead with development partners and the government that, hey, it is possible that not all the healthcare workers will be directly responding. There are some that will not be directly responding. Probably they're working in the facility and they may have COVID and die. So could we consider this category? So if that is considered, meaning if such person family go through the same requirement, then they will also get 2,500 United States dollars.
Okay. So
all of these money are available as we talk to you. Now, what are those requirements? Our Ministry of Health database should show that that particular health worker actually died from what? COVID. The family member should send a notice to the Ministry of Health writing that we have so family member that died as a result of COVID.
You're already there, and you know that person, an individual or doctor has been serving and he died. So do the family members still have to write?
Yeah, but you know the thing is, you have to serve a notice and then you bring a letter of administration. You know, family issue, GIFTY. You got once money is involved, so many people might show up and say, I have the right. So you have to bring a letter of administration. Let the family say, yes, this person is the one that will be on top of this negotiation. And then also they need to bring some identity of the deceased. And then also show the death certificate of the deceased. And all of this, all you need to do is to take it to the Ministry of Health, the Human Resource Division. You will not believe it, GIFTY. Since this opportunity came up, we have 5 healthcare workers dead currently. Not one person has even shown up at the ministry.
So what do you think is preventing the family from coming?
I mean, I can't just understand. And that's why I think that's why I decided that, hey, it better we come up and talk about it in detail. Because some of these things, like most of the country guys are talking about, some of them are already into motion. So as I speak to you, those family members who are in this situation, please come to the ministry. The money is already available. All you need to do is bring your letter of administration, bring the death certificate, show identification of this deceased, come to the Ministry of Health, notify us, and then we'll start making preparation for you to get this money. But it is specifically for what? Healthcare workers. It's a death benefit, for those healthcare workers that fell between that must have died as a result of COVID.
Well,
so that is the third one. So you can see what appears to be it. The first 3 are low-hanging fruits. Low-hanging fruit. Because according low-hanging fruit, because the president have made it clear that, hey, I have listened to your plight. This is $2 million. Get this started. You can hold that.
Okay, so let me hold you right there. Folks, you're listening to Health Hour on ELBC Radio 99.9 FM, and shortly we'll take this musical break. When we come back, we will announce the numbers to call and be part of this conversation. Like I said, we have with us in studio, he's Dr. Gorbee Logan. He's the Assistant Minister for Curative Service and Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Republic of Liberia. Welcome back to it, Health Hour, ELBC Radio 99.9 FM. This program comes to you from the Ministry of Health. You heard it there, you heard a song from our president and the theme, Corona, some of the signs and symptoms, ways in which people catch Corona. Always keep safe. Continue to use your face shield, use your mask, give yourself some distance if you're in a crowd. Stay away from crowded places if you have no business being there. We are still fighting Corona. While we are fighting Corona, our routine services are still available and it's active more than ever before. We want people to still access our health care system. Go to the hospital if there's a need to. Always take your children for vaccination if the time has come. Don't stay away thinking that all of the services are down because of Corona. Yes, indeed, we are fighting Corona. We know we are at the verge of finishing. We are very optimistic as a country that this thing is going to become part of history. We still have with us in studio live Dr. Gorbee Logan. He's the Assistant Minister for Curative Service at the Ministry of Health, and as a matter of fact, he's the Deputy CMO Republic of Liberia. Dr. Logan, like we were discussing before we took the break, and we are back now. We're still going through the 8 counts that were, presented to the ministry by the National Health Workers Association. The program is live. Shortly, we will announce the numbers. If you're a health worker out there and listening to this program, or just the general public, we want you to call, put your points through. We have Dr. Logan in studio. Ask him some of the questions that are, been troubling your mind, and he's going to take the call. He's going to, go through some of the things you have problem with. But until we can get the issue of our calling system set, we will still be discussing, and we can begin taking your calls. Maybe perhaps 20, 15 minutes to 10. But until then, Dr. Gorbee Logan is my guest. And together we are here discussing. I'm GIFTY CLARKE as always. Dr. Logan, we were discussing some of the counts, and I think we were at the 4th count, of the 8 that was presented by our health workers.
So I will just read the remaining count.
Yeah, sure.
And then I will emphasize on 1 or 2, just before the call come in.
Okay.
So the 4th one is retirement of health workers, healthcare workers. We're all replacing them. They are requesting that the gap be filled. I will talk about that shortly. Reclassification of the health workers that have upgraded their professional skill and pay salary based on grade or qualification. The second one is salary increment for healthcare workers. The last one on the list is the requesting government to provide the Health Worker Association certificate of recognition.
Certificate of recognition,
meaning they want to be unionized. So that is the count. In fact, this count is something that the government is very clear on. At the Ministry of Health, it is not in our purview to do this. Even at the executive, changing from an association to a union status, the executive may not be able to help you.
So that means
so
the
have
association
to
wants to stand alone.
Yeah, so to be able to change from an association to a union, you can only do, the only possibility is that you have to go to the legislature, and so that, because they're responsible to change the law. And that's why we keep telling them that this demand is so strong that no country on earth can do this. No country on earth will want to break their law because they want to satisfy, a group of people.
So that, let me just hold you right there and announce the number so our people can be part of the program. Today we only have our MTN number, that is 080-514-096. Call 080-514-096. You can call and put your points through that. We can still continue while our callers perhaps might call to chip in the program.
So GIFTY, of all of the counts, this one is something that they keep clinging to, and it's also something that the government cannot do easily.
So that is the main aim.
So this issue
Let
of
me go you
certificating
that I can take this call. Hello, welcome to Health Hour. Okay, come on. What? Can you walk a bit from your monitor, please? Okay. Yes. Make your points, please. Okay, thank you so much. Good morning. Okay, that.
So whenever you go to a negotiation like this, you cannot say all of the counts should be listened to by the government, addressed by the government before you go back to work. Let's look at the good thing the young men have done for us. Mr. President, His Excellency Dr. George Manawia, just on just the first day of you meeting with him, he was able to do this.
There. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Health Hour.
This is Sarah calling from Maryland County.
Okay. Cyrus, welcome to the program, one of our regular listeners.
Yeah, thank you so much. And let me say thank you to your speaker there this morning and his detailed explanation regarding this pattern between the health workers and the executive. My question is, because yesterday I listened to the information minister that, and subsequently the health minister, that the government is open to negotiation. And then on the other side, what is the problem to me is that why you say negotiations is still open to reach understandable point. At the same time, you're calling for recruitment of new health workers.
Okay.
So it's something that is probably that one cannot understand. It's confusing to me. And so what will happen is that recruitment is a temporary or permanent employment. What will happen is the original health workers say, well, we will return to work, and what will be their status? Why are you recruiting?
Okay, thank you so much, Cyrus. He will address your plight very soon. We have another caller on the line. Welcome to Health Hour.
Morning.
Morning, welcome to Health Hour.
Morning, and good morning to the assistant minister and to Dr. Studio. This is Ojuku of Botswana. Ojuku.
Kindly make your points, please.
I really appreciate you for the health talk. Actually, we need health workers who took over and committed saving lives. And no matter how the circumstances may be, we do not need politicians wearing political clothes. Look, our health workers in Liberia, we have great respect for them. A few group of people need not to politicize the health sector and then create a serious problem for the profession of the health workers. People came with passion to do this work. At the end of the day, people want to politicize the sector. Look, no
Thank you very much. Thank you, my brother, for being a part of the program. Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. Your name and where do you call from? Thank you. Welcome to Health Hour. Make your points, please.
What our government would like to see for action before the company intervention is actually so I want to know.
Okay, so you will get to know soon. Thank you for participating. Before we go back to what we were discussing, can we please clear the air? One of our callers talk about the issue of recruitment. That is, it is alleged that the ministry is recruiting new categories of health workers. Can you speak to that, please?
Yeah, thank you so much. This health worker strike situation is not unique to Liberia. Nigeria started at home weeks ago. I think Chije called it off yesterday. Similar situation in Kenya, everywhere. So normally, if there's a nationwide strike action, it has the propensity, if you don't put into place a compensatory mechanism, to cause the whole system to crash. Meaning, if no health worker in the hospital, when people come in, they will not be attended to. And you have a lot of people dying for all kinds of reasons. For that not to happen, during this strike action, the ministry have to make sure that the administration of those various hospitals, have at least a small number of people still working to keep the system running. Now, with reference to this recruitment exercise, even if this meeting we are going for tomorrow, and the health worker resolve to go back to work, this exercise will still continue probably for another month. The reason for that is that if you look at count 4, they talk about retirement of healthcare worker without replacement.
Okay.
Now, the ministry in this year budget, we've planned that about 458 person, will have to, as they pension, as those people who are pension leaving, we need about 458% to come back into the Ministry of Health. So currently what is going on at the Ministry of Health, we are just profiling and vetting those new healthcare workers, because you cannot a nurse that was a BSc nurse, for example, and then have been pensioned, you can bring somebody of a lower cartridge. So what we're doing currently is profiling and vetting and creating a database for these new people, with the hope that this negotiation, tomorrow's meeting, if it should end, people get back to work, then we will continue that process just to make sure that we have these people, and at any time when we are ready for the employment exercises, we can take them in. But if this negotiation fails with all the effort government making, it means that some of the new people that we are profiling or vetting most likely could be the one to work.
So now
that's why we are appealing to the healthcare worker. Let's end this strike so that the ministry concentrate on some of the demand that you are putting forward, that we should replace, that we should, as pensioners are leaving, we should bring in other people to fill the gap. So that process has started.
Let me hold you there. Somebody out there is listening will say, why didn't you start the recruitment process when all was, rosy? Now that you have a problem that is existing, and you're just saying because of the 4th counts that is within the 8 counts that were presented to you, and you are now acting upon it.
Yeah, because we are in a crisis, Gabe. The system cannot crash. There are almost 2,000 healthcare workers out there, nurses, midwives, and physician assistants, brand new without a job.
Do we have another caller on the line? Okay, we lost that caller. Go ahead.
Without a job. So should we sit and wait until everything falls flat to the ground as a government? We cannot do that. So that will automatically trigger this process. You understand? We have to do it because, as we speak, some of the health facilities, no healthcare workers are there other than the administration.
Let me hold you right there, please. Welcome to Health Hour. Hello and welcome to Health Hour.
Yeah, this is William Fopia calling from Pittsburgh.
Okay, make your point, please.
Yeah, if you tell right here now to the worker leave, then the worker leave should not be prioritize their workers.
Okay. Thank you very much. Do we have another caller on the line? Okay, Dad.
So that's the reason why. Because, you know, whenever healthcare workers go on strike, it's an abrupt situation everywhere. Now, so the thing is, should we wait until the whole system fall flat to the ground? So that's what trigger this profiling and vetting of new healthcare workers currently ongoing at the ministry.
Hello, welcome to Health Hour.
Good morning. Good morning, GIFTY. Good morning, how are you?
Morning, I'm okay, and you?
Thank you. This is the Chief Minister. And let me say thanks and one to the Minister.
Your points, please. Yeah.
Thank you. Let me say thanks to the Health Minister for the patient and negotiation aspect that she's taking, to negotiate with the health workers. But let me just take time, to appeal to the Farm Minister and our national legislature, to increase the budget of health years. The issue of information dissemination. One day, Assistant Minister in office explaining there's nothing the very important for our people. There is nothing the very that because we are saying all the health workers must say that you include you people. So the issue of dissemination of information to the villages through the local administration, that's how much support them. And the Farm Minister will come up there, Minister, you will have all your phone. Really, your fee to make sure to increase the budget of health care. So that information dissemination to the villages and towns and people can get it right. Because what the minister is explaining as relates to the category of health workers, people who are retired, people who are patients, so that they can be able to get on payroll and make sure that they receive the best benefit of what they're going to receive. But the fact that the information is not going down to our people using it, some of the people who are not state reactive, they're using it to get best information to the public, and our people take their home, sleeping on it.
Okay, thank you very much, my brother. Thank you for making your points. Dad, so can we just go ahead from where we stopped?
Yeah, so just to make it clear to everyone, we are hoping that the meeting tomorrow will settle this thing. No one has lost their job yet. But as a ministry, we cannot sit and fold our hand. We have to put into place a readiness plan just in case, the worst case scenario happens. So the sooner we get back to work after tomorrow's meeting, you find out that all this tension will start relaxing, and we'll focus on those good that the president have done, for the Ministry of Health. Try to grab the one, run with them as much as possible, while we give our government some time to, to address the other issue with time. That's my appeal to all the nurses listening to me. Look, guys, I work with you people, and you got to listen to me. You got to listen to me. I work with all of you. Why can't you listen to me? Cut off the strike. Get back to work tomorrow. Following that meeting, let's get back to work. This recruitment exercise that have started, even if the strike is cut off, it will not cut off, because moving forward, we want to have a database down so that in the future, if this situation popping up, we will already have a nice bank to pick people from right away. But if all of imagine the first negotiation fail, the one you have with all the executive, the second one fail, tomorrow is the last one. Don't fail the health system. Now, Gabe, you will not believe, yesterday in Grand Bassa, a healthcare worker, a lab technician, 52-year-old man, suddenly collapsed.
Wow.
He's a news pressure patient, but he collapsed. He didn't even know he had diabetes as well. He also suffered mild stroke. He was referred by the Grand Bassa team to Monrovia. On their way going, the ambulance even had an accident. We had to send a second ambulance to pick him up. And currently, he is at the ELBC hospital, at least responding to treatment. So you can see it is not only ordinary Liberian. Even we healthcare workers may risks falling between the cracks, guys. Please listen to us.
So they had to transfer him from...
Yes, he's currently at ELBC hospital. I just called there this morning before coming, and the doctors there told me, yes, even though he's unconscious, but he's responding to what? To treatment.
So, hello, welcome to Health Hour.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to Health Hour.
Thank you. This is Prince Mola calling from Bangladesh this morning.
Okay, Prince. Go ahead, please.
Alright, let me first just tell you, thank you for the information that you just presented. But I believe that most of the problem that going in the health system is caused from the health ministry. Recruiting people to come, if the nurses don't agree to the discussion tomorrow, I strongly believe there will be more chaos in the health system, because if you take new people and bring them in the system who are now just been in a medical institution or hospital to carry on practices, and they come with a first mind, but when it comes to the practical aspect, they are now to the task.
Okay, Prince. Thank you so much for being a part of the
I
program.
need to clarify that.
Yeah, that can you speak?
That new people you're talking about, Uncle. That's why we call it profiling and vetting. Meaning, a nurse that is leaving should be replaced by the same nurse with the same qualification. It's a process. It's a process, but I continue to say no healthcare worker has lost their job yet. We are in a crisis and we are negotiating, and that's why we're saying tomorrow's meeting and this thing, so we move forward. No one has lost their job yet, but in the evening, where you refuse to come at all, then we cannot sit for our people to continue dying.
Okay,
we have to find a solution to move forward.
That let's look at CSA standing order on the issue of dismissal. What happens to our health workers who may not return to job after 14 days?
Yeah, thank you so much. Up to 14 days, if you don't come to work up to 14 days under the civil service, policy is equivalent to an automatic dismissal. But we don't want to reach that route. The president is calling on all healthcare workers, please, we beg you, following the meeting tomorrow, let's get back to work. Some good things have come up from the president. Let's pick those ones and get the system running while we give our government chance to address the other issue. On the issue of making you a union, we must make it clear. We're not able that one in simple English. Yes, the only people that can do that the legislature have that power. So we beg you, that one is not in our purview. We are so sorry.
So that one, in simple English, you're not able.
No. If that is the main reason, then that particular one, it is not within our purview to do. We cannot go that route. It is only the legislature that can change law in this country.
So you said what time is the meeting again tomorrow?
1 o'clock tomorrow is the meeting at the Ministry of Health. And we're only going to take the leadership of the National Health Worker Association this time around, the Gabriel Medical and Dental Council, the Gabriel Nursing and Midwifery Board, the Gabriel Pharmaceutical Board, all those regulatory bodies, and the ministry alone. So it's more like an in-house conversation to talk to our own people, to see reason to call up this strike. Imagine the executive have come in, other people have come in. So this time around, we appeal to the president, please give us this one chance. Let's talk to our own people and see whether they're going to listen to us. And to the Liberian people listening to my voice, talk to your children who are healthcare workers. Let them see reason, to understand the situation currently.
So, thank you for joining us. But just before I take leave of you, is there anything you want to say that perhaps we did not talk about?
Well, thank you so much. A lot has been said. But before I leave this stage, I want to leave you with a quote from Albert Einstein. He's a German-born theoretical physicist. He said, and I quote, "The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing." To the healthcare workers, let us not look on and do nothing as our people are dying. The government is appealing to you people following the meeting tomorrow to get back to work. Let's give our government a chance to put everything in place for us. Thank you so much.
Okay, that was the voice of Dr. Gorbee Logan. He's the Assistant Minister for Curative Service at the Ministry of Health. Like he has sounded over and over again. I'm just joining my voice to his voice that our health workers, tomorrow there's a planned meeting with the leadership. We are hoping that meeting will yield the kind of positive result we are expecting. we are calling on all of you to please see reason to return to work. Our people are dying. They are being left alone because you have left. On this note, I'd like to say thank you for your listening role. Do join us Thursday 3 p.m. where we have the repeat of this program, or better still, you can join me next week Tuesday. Perhaps we might be here, God's willing, to discuss another important issue as it relates to our health. I've always been Gifty Clark. Thank you so much, Musa Salif, for always watching my back. Have a great week.